Finally, 2 came forward who stated,
"This man said, I can destroy the temple of God and within 3 days rebuild it."
The high priest rose and addressed him.
Have you no answer? What are these men testifying against you?
But Jesus was silent. Then
I order you to tell us, Son of God.
Jesus said to him in reply,
You had said so, but I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven.
Then the high priest tore his robes and said,
He has blasphemed. What further need have we of witnesses? You have now heard the blasphemy. What is your opinion?
They said in reply,
He deserves to die.
Then they spat in his face and struck him, while some slapped him, saying,
Prophesy for us, Christ. Who is it that struck you?
Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. One of the maids came over to him and said,
You too were with Jesus, the Galilean.
But he denied it in front of everyone, saying,
I do not know what you're talking about.
As he went out to the gate, another girl saw him and said to those who were there,
This man was with Jesus, the Nazarene.
Again, he denied it with an oath.
I do not know the man.
A little later, he said to Peter,
Surely you too are one of them. Even your speech gives you away.
At that, he began to curse and to swear.
I do not know the man.
And immediately a cock crowed. Then Peter remembered the word that Jesus had spoken. All the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, his betrayer, seeing that Jesus had been condemned, deeply regretted. He returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying,
I have sinned in betraying innocent blood.
They said,
What is that to us? Look to it yourself.
Flinging the money into the temple, he departed and went off and hanged himself. The chief priests gathered up the money, but said,
It is not lawful to deposit this in the temple treasury, for it is the price of blood.
After consultation, they used it to buy the potter's field as a burial place for foreigners. That is why that field, even today, is called the Field of Blood. Then was fulfilled what had been said through Jeremiah the prophet. And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the value of a man with a price on his head, a price set by some of the Israelites, and they paid it out for the potter's field, just as the Lord had commanded me. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and he questioned him.
Are you the king of the Jews?
Jesus said,
You say so.
and when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he made no answer. Then Pilate said to him,
Do you not hear how many things they are testifying against you?
Jesus stood before the governor, Pontius Pilate, who questioned him. One word, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Now on the occasion of the feast, the governor was accustomed to release to the crowd one prisoner whom they wished. And at that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. So when they assembled, Pilate said to them,
Which one do you want me to release to you? Or Jesus called Christ?
For he knew that it was out of envy that they had handed him over. While he was still seated on the bench, his wife sent him a message. Have nothing to do with that righteous man. I suffered much in a dream today because of him. The chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas, but to destroy Jesus. The governor said to them in reply,
Which of the two do you want me to release to you?
They answered.
Barabbas.
Pilate said to them.
Then what should I do with Jesus called Christ?
They all said.
Let him be crucified.
But he said.
Why? What evil has he done?
They only shouted the louder.
Let him be crucified.
When Pilate saw that he was not succeeding at all, but that a riot was breaking out instead, he took water and washed his hands in the sight of the crowd, saying,
I am innocent of this man's blood. Look to it yourselves.
And the whole people said in reply,
His blood be upon us and upon our children.
Then he released Barabbas to them. But after he had Jesus' military cloak about him, weaving a crown out of thorns, they placed it on his head and a reed in his right hand. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying,
Hail, King of the Jews.
They spat upon him and tore clothes and led him off to crucify him. As they were a Syrian named Simon, they pressed into service to carry his cross. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, mixed with gall. But when he had tasted it, he refused to drink. After they had crucified him, they divided his garments by casting lots. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there. And they placed over his head the written charge against him. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. 2 revolutionaries were crucified with him,